Imagine being so terrified, so broken down, that you admit to a crime you didn't even commit. This is the story of a young man who said the words, "I did it," but he was innocent, and those words would steal years of his life. It was 1989. A quiet town in the Midwest was shaken by a brutal crime, an attack that left the community desperate for answers. The police were under enormous pressure. Reporters wanted updates. Families demanded justice. That's when they brought in a 19-year-old kid. His name was Daniel Miller, fictionalized for storytelling. He had no criminal record, no history of violence, no reason to hurt anyone. But Daniel was shy, nervous, and suffered from a mild learning disability. He was easy to scare, and the detectives knew it. The interrogation began. What should have lasted an hour stretched into 18 grueling hours. No lawyer, no family, just Daniel, two detectives, and a tiny room with no windows. They told him lies. "We already know you did it. Just admit it, and this will be easier. If you confess, you can go home. Your fingerprints are at the scene." None of it was true, but Daniel didn't know that. Hour after hour, they wore him down. He begged to leave. He cried. At one point, he fell asleep with his head on the table. And then, broken, exhausted, and terrified, Daniel finally said the words they wanted. "Fine, I did it." The detectives hit record. They guided him through a confession, feeding him details he didn't know, details only the police had. The next morning, the headline read, "Teen confesses to brutal crime." Daniel was arrested, charged, and within months, convicted. The jury never saw the full interrogation tape. They only saw the polished confession. He was sentenced to life in prison. But something didn't add up. Years passed, and questions grew louder. The DNA at the crime scene didn't match Daniel. Witnesses placed him miles away that night. And the confession, it had details that were wrong. Finally, a nonprofit group called the Innocence Project took Daniel's case. They fought for access to the full interrogation video. When the court reviewed the tape, they were shocked. They saw hours of manipulation. They saw a vulnerable young man, cornered and broken. They saw detectives feeding him the story. The so-called confession was nothing more than survival. Daniel confessed because he believed it was the only way out. After 15 years behind bars, Daniel's conviction was overturned. He walked out of prison a free man. But freedom came at a cost. He had lost his 20s and 30s. His mother had died while he was inside. He had no job, no savings, no sense of the modern world. The system that was supposed to protect him had destroyed him. When asked why he confessed, Daniel said quietly, "I just wanted the pain to stop. They told me I could go home, so I said what they wanted." Daniel's story isn't rare. In fact, more than 25% of wrongful convictions overturned by DNA evidence involve false confessions. Think about that. Innocent people admitting to crimes they didn't commit because the system broke them. So I'll leave you with this. Do you believe confessions should always be trusted? Or should we finally admit that sometimes the system lies? Comment your thoughts below. And if you want more stories of injustice that the world needs to hear, make sure to subscribe.